What's happening, guys? It is review time, and I have been getting to grips with the JXD S7800b for the last 2.5 weeks. I'd just like to say now that funstock.co.uk sent me this for the purpose of review, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how you guys can get your hands on one with a discount using my promotional code. But before we look at any of that, let's take a demo at what this bad boy can do for you. And here is my JXD. I just want to talk a little bit about some of the physical functions before we take a look at some of the emulation capacity. It weighs 500 grams. That's comparable to the Wii U gamepad, which weighs 497. On the back, this is running on Android, by the way, 4.2.2 I believe, so hence the little Android. There's some beveled edges around here, so it feels quite ergonomic and comfortable to hold. It is incredibly thin. There'll be additional pictures on the screen so you guys can see this in a little bit more depth. There's a quad-core processor, so it's incredibly fast. There is 2 gig of RAM, so the multitasking capability of this is absolutely immense. I haven't noticed any firmware or slowdown or glitches at all. Some of the emulators at times, particularly the Dreamcast, can stutter slightly on the cutscenes, but nonetheless this thing seriously packs a punch. There's 2 analog sticks, you've got your D-pad, start and select buttons, and your classic 4-button control system at the top, coupled with, on the top there guys, you have your R1, R2, L1, R2, reminiscent of the PlayStation controller. So that's the kind of physicality of this thing. I want to show you guys some of the preloaded software that makes this device what it is. So guys, as you can see, you've got the emulator store. So here you can simply install the emulator of your choice, and that will come down straight onto what I would class as something like, like your desktop, your main screen. You can move these about. You can also download additional emulators from the Android market. Some of them you have to pay for, some of them are free. I'm going to talk to you about an emulator that I use that is fantastic for the Snares. But nonetheless, these emulators that you see here really do play the part. It's quite easy to access ROMs, which I'm also going to talk about, and as you can see, the frame rate on these things is absolutely amazing. Now, one of the other additional selling points for the JXD is that you can play this device on your flat screen. You can hook it up with the HDMI cable and it will play in 1080p. And whilst I'm not demoing that in this particular review, I have to say that I did try it at the Play Expo, I believe it was in October. There was the Funstock stand, and you knew exactly where the JXD was because there was always a crowd of people looking and playing on the flat screen, and I was fortunate enough to have a go with one before I got my hands on my own. And I must say guys, whilst the gameplay looks phenomenal and the colour saturation looks great on here, you can multiply that by 10 when you're looking at it on your flat screen. It is a 1080p playback, which blew my mind. It really, really did. This is something that is incredibly powerful, and it really does pack a punch, whether you're playing it on the device or on your flat screen. So you guys also get the benefit of the Haptic Game Center, whereby you can download ROMs to your heart's content. It's incredibly easy to do, and you can access all of the games that you download through this emulator itself, which means you never have to use additional emulators that you've downloaded. So you get the choice of what you want to do, really. Now, you download all the games and you can look at categories, you can look at console types, so you get the choice of how you want to approach your downloading, which I think is incredibly versatile. What's interesting about this as well is when you look on the bottom menu, right in the middle you've got an option called Play, and there you can see your entire game library that you've downloaded, including the pack shots of all the games. So I think that's a nice little touch there. Now, another app that I think is crucial to have on the JXD is the Android Zip Manager, and what you can do is you can patch in manually to the behind the scenes software of the JXD, and you can move things around, you can rename them, you can delete them, and I found that incredibly useful when I'm looking at moving ROM files, or I've downloaded a faulty ROM and I want to delete it. So you guys definitely need to check that out. If you're familiar with Android, then you've probably seen this app already on your phone or whatever, but it's definitely something that has made managing this device incredibly simple. Now, I just want to focus on an app now that I've been getting loads and loads of time in with, and it's the Super Snares. It's an incredibly powerful Snares emulator. You can get the trial version, but you can also have the option to pay for it, and it works an absolute treat on here. So if you have any Snares ROMs on this device, you can click the SD card in the top right hand corner and it will scan the device. Any Snares title that's on there, it will pull it down, and it will also include the pack shots. You can launch the game from within that emulator, and it's incredibly fantastic. You'll see some gameplay on the screens now, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let some of the footage run so you guys can see and hear this in a little bit more depth from different emulators that I may have not talked about. So there we go, guys. So as a final thing, there will be some standard applications on here, such as YouTube, your calculator. Not that we would buy a JXD to use a calculator, but again, it's all about that preloaded software, and I feel that you really, really do get your money's worth with the JXD. You can get this from funstock.co.uk using the code TheGebs24 to get 5% off. In time for Christmas, guys, and also you can use that code for any of the products that you want to bolt on if you do decide to buy this. It is a fantastic product. I'm really, really happy with it. There are a couple of issues that I did have when I first got it around the firmware that was on was a little bit buggy, but Funstock were incredibly good to me, and they sent me a link to some of the preloaded software, which was quite easy to put straight back on this. So if you guys do have a problem with faulty firmware, let me know and I will send you the link so you can have all the preloaded content back on your device with complete ease. So versatility wise, I'd give this device a 9 out of 10. It would have been 10 out of 10 if it wasn't for some of the firmware glitches, but fortunately it's easy to manage by putting it straight back on. The look of this thing is incredibly fantastic. It's almost like a steely grey. It looks really, really good in no matter what light you have it in. If you're playing it in bright sunlight, there's not much reflection at all. I've always had a problem with the iPad with reflections, but this seems to soak up the light pretty well. And it also comes with a screen protector on it. You can see on the corners there that there is a built-on screen protector, so you know when you do get it, just peel everything off as you normally would because the screen protector's still on. So funstock.co.uk for the JXD S7800b gaming tablet. This is a 16 gig model. It is available now, and all the links to buying this will be in the description, so you guys can go and get one for Christmas. I'm the Gobes24. I'm incredibly happy to do this review. I'll be back soon. I've got loads planned for the channel, so thanks for the support, guys. Take care.